Well, fans, here we are. Johnny Courageous squaring off against Wayne Mitchell in what appears to be a nice scientific match. Johnny Courageous, a gentleman who loves to wrestle on the mat, but he can mix it up if he has to. Wayne Mitchell, fairly new to the MMWA and the SICW. So this ought to be a very interesting scientific match, Ben. Welcome to the ringside with us, and congratulations on being the newest member of the broadcast team here.
Once again, thanks, sir. I don't know a lot about Wayne Mitchell here. I haven't seen him wrestle before, but Johnny Courageous, it looks like he's working a very technical bout here so far against Wayne, like he always does. A hammerlock, switch-ups, as you can see right there. So I'm excited about this. It should be a good one.
Well, as I said, Johnny Courageous has been known to wrestle a scientific match, but he's been able to go in there and mix it up against the biggest of them, men such as big as the Texan. I mean, they had a feud for some time, and Johnny doesn't back down from anybody.
No. Texan, of course, a little bit too heavy to compete for this title here. But no, the fans are excited. It's a great night down here at South Broadway. Title match, no better way to have the third match here. And for the first time, both competitors separate right there. Now they shake hands, sportsmanship.
Don't see that much anymore in the wrestling business nowadays. That was back in the days of the Pat O'Connors and the Luthezes and Cowboy Bob Ellis's. But right now we're seeing it here tonight with Johnny Courageous as we keep the tradition of wrestling alive here in St. Louis, and where we'll be back here on Saturday night, October the 9th. But before then, the big card back over in East Carondelet, Illinois at the Community Center next Saturday night. And then on the 25th of this month, 2 shows, and the same day on the 25th of September, we start off at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Hillsdale, Missouri, outside show, free admission, no charge there, bring your lawn chair. And Cowboy Bob Orton will be on the hand with us there. Later on that night, 8 o'clock over in Fairmont City, Illinois. We're going back again this year. They enjoyed us so much last year. They asked us to come back and help them raise some money for their Police Athletic League. And that ought to be another good night. And Cowboy Bob Orton will be joining us that evening also. But in the meantime, Ben, we're right here at South Broadway, the historical South Broadway Athletic Club, where wrestling's been here for many, 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 many years.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. This is the mecca of wrestling right now in St. Louis. As for those 2 events on the 25th, that's pretty awesome. In the almost 30-year history of this promotion, have you guys ever done that before?
Yes, we've done it. In fact, we're probably the only promotion that's ever done that over the last 30 years. We've done it quite frequently. Usually once a year we're over in Dupo, Illinois, and then that same evening it always seems to fall on the same night we're here at South Broadway. We did that 2 or 3 years in a row. So as long as we've got the talent available, it's all about going out helping these organizations raise money. Not too many of these independent promotions can say that now.
Oh, yeah. What could be better than a free wrestling event,
Yeah, it's an outside show, so of course we're at Mother Nature's disposal at that time, so we'll all be praying for a nice, beautiful day, kind of like what it was today. But I remember a couple of years over in Dupo, Illinois for the fire department. We had a little rain before the match, so we were all out there with rags wiping off the ring apron, and because it gets kind of slippery when it gets wet. But we were able to put the show on, and we got the ring down and got it over here and set it up just in time for the 8 o'clock show. So we'll do whatever we have to please the fans.
Oh, yeah. Risky business, a wet ring. That's pretty dangerous right here. You can see Courageous going for that front face lock, and Mitchell, unbelievably, works his way back to his feet, turns it back into a hammerlock. Courageous being taken to school here.
Well, I think what we need to do, Ben, is bring our listening audience up to speed. You live here in St. Louis, of course, and how is it that you became so involved? Were you like all of us at a young age, started watching wrestling?
Since 3 years old, yeah. I was a fan of WCW and WWE, and I've been going to events at Kiel and right here at South Broadway for years. So, I've been a fan. I'm really knowledgeable, and I hope that everybody accepts me eventually. I know my stuff, back to Ed Lewis even in the 20s, so we might have to talk about that stuff sometime.
There you go, Ed, Strangler, Lewis, all those guys back then. But wrestling has been such a mega part of the St. Louis culture for many, many years. People didn't realize this was the capital of professional wrestling. 42 years under the leadership of Sam Muchnick, who was the president of the NWA for 42 years. And then that tradition just carried on with the likes of the Larry Matiseks and Mickey Garagiola, who we just lost. And, of course, what Tony Costa and myself have been trying to do here with the MMWA and the SICW, and in no way are we saying we're comparing ourselves to those days, but we're just hoping we're carrying that tradition on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the tradition lives. And you said earlier that we lost one and we gained another in terms of announcers. I will never compare myself to Mickey Gragiola. He's a completely different announcer from a different time that we'll probably not see again. So, yeah, completely different, but the tradition is alive and well here at South Broadway, 100%.
Well, you know, there's been a lot of internet talk about the loss of Mickey Gragiola, and I've read everything on there about, you know, he was a waiter for many, many years. That's all he did professionally. Raised his family, and then got into the ring announcing business. And he was probably the best-known waiter in St. Louis by far. But what people's got to remember, on any given weekend, 100,000 fans was watching him and Larry Matisek, or him and Eddie Gromacki, or him and Sam Menaker on wrestling at the Chase.
Oh, yeah, it was rated just behind Cardinals baseball in the evening news, huh?
Exactly, it was there. And, of course, back then, you know, there wasn't a lot to watch on television. You had wrestling, you had roller derby, and you had the Three Stooges.
We still have the Stooges on reruns, and we still have wrestling, so that's good enough.
And right now, we're watching Johnny Courageous take it to the likes of Wayne Mitchell with that body scissors. And as we said, Johnny Courageous, a very technical wrestler. And right now, this has been a good technical match. Kind of a training for this Wayne Mitchell.
Oh, yeah. You can see right now he's kind of losing the grip, Courageous is, but he's looking for an arm bar. Now, what he needs to do is take his right leg and put it over Wayne's head. And then he's trying to free that wrist right there, pull it back, put some pressure on the elbow, but now it's broken.
And that's because Wayne got his foot tied up in the rope there, and the referee, Bobby Patton, called for an automatic break. This is a one-fall, 30-minute time limit, and yes, it is for the Missouri and Illinois junior heavyweight title. Johnny Courageous puts that title on the line each and every show that he is on. He is a true champion, not like some of the paper champions that are running around nowadays. And we don't want to talk too much about that because somebody like the Future may be listening to us.
Well, the Future's title is not recognized here, and you know, once again, we all know that. So there's not a lot more to talk about.
A nice leapfrog. And Courageous hooks that arm and flips him over. He goes for the cover and gets the count of one. And Wayne Mitchell manages to kick out of it, but Johnny Courageous showing the veteran, grabbing it, going right back to work on that arm.
That was a pretty vicious Japanese arm drag right there, and he's going back to the arm. Now, when you have your whole weight being cranked up in the air by your arm, you can see Wayne Mitchell's probably not feeling too well right there. And there he just turns it and slams it down on the canvas, and he's wrenching it, man. Wayne Mitchell could give up at any moment here, no doubt.
Yep, he could, and that's what referee Bobby Patton's asking for. Do you want to tap out? Do you want to give this up and rest for another day? But, you know, you got to take your hats off to these contestants. They go through this stuff day in and day out. Their pain tolerance has got to be something else, I'll tell you.
Yeah. And some of it, you know, if you don't take care of yourself, they pay for it in the long run. Now, hopefully these guys know how to take care of themselves. But, yeah, this is brutal right here. Now look at the Dragon Sleeper. Courageous is locking it on. Oh, my goodness. He's pulling it back.
Referee checked to make sure that it doesn't slip down, but now he goes right back to that arm bar. Courageous applying that pressure. As we said, fans, wrestling returns to South Broadway Saturday night, October the 9th, and we're going to have, the first time I can remember, a Halloween contest, costume contest. $100 will be given to the best dressed person from compliments of Nick Rednire from the Pro Wrestling Material. He'll have a $100 grab bag and then $25 to the second place. So get out that costume or make up your whichever one you want to come down here. And as Tony Costa said, we'll have 3 or 4 judges that will be impartial, and we'll pick the winners, and we'll have a good Halloween celebration a little bit early.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's going to be a good one. Nick has everything. Everybody just come down here. If you haven't been down here before, this is the time to come. And dress up, too. Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga right here at South Broadway. Come down and you can see the St. Louis Wrestling at the Chase Hall of Fame. Everybody is on the back wall. They have the South Broadway Athletic Club Boxing Hall of Fame here. Just a lot goes on here at South Broadway Athletic Club, kind of similar to what we do over in East Charlotte, Illinois, where we'll be at next Saturday, the 18th, with a triple main event. And I know you can't wait, Ben, to see what happens between the likes of the Ron Powers and the Big Texan.
I've been following Ron Powers for a long time, and Big Texan and Ron Powers have been going back a long time. And it's going to be a good one. You got these two big guys. It's such a cliche, but the immovable force and the irresistible object, or however that goes, that's going to be those two. It's going to be fun.
And then two other main events. We'll have the championship belt on the line. Dave Vaughn defending it against Danny Boy, who won a shot at that title by virtue of beating the gorgeous one, Gary Jackson, even though Gary Jackson thinks that we looked over him, but he's the one who got disqualified. So Gary Jackson will be in the house. He won't be happy, but it will be Danny Boy going after that title. And if Dave Vaughn isn't on his game to say, we may have a new champion in Danny Boy. And then, of course, the future will be there squaring off against the ever-capable Chris Hargis.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. As far as Commissioner Keith Smith and the Gary Jackson incident, you think there was a reason why he didn't tell him it was for the title shot?
Well, I think, in all honesty, with Keith, Commissioner Smith, that's his decision. He doesn't have to go out there and tell these guys anything. They're to go out there and work that match, and the best man wins. It's not going to make him do anything any differently other than the likes of a Gary Jackson to cheat, if nothing else. And I think that's kind of what Keith Smith had in mind. He wanted to see a good, clean, honest, down-to-earth match, and it kind of backfired on Gary Jackson, and that's the price you pay.
Look at that fall-away slam. Oh, my gosh, I thought that was it. Mitchell almost had him right there. That was a great fall-away slam. The shades of Scott Hall.
Oh, yes, big Scott Hall, I'm telling you. Shades of the WCW.
Scott's not doing too well nowadays, but I hope the best for him.
Whoa, he comes down off the back. And that's what I'm telling you about Johnny Courageous.
Oh, what an awesome.
A 3 count. 1, 2, 3, and Johnny Courageous with a fabulous maneuver, and he is going to get the win.